safe spot, I think.
Great.
We'll see. If not, they're a good price from Chuck Kaminsky, the basement trader.
Welcome back to Cuyahoga Sound Podcast. I'm Evan Stone.
I'm Chuck Schilling.
And today we're with Jeremy and Dave from Daniel, that's
it's okay.
what I said.
Close.
From the Morning Bird. Cool. Great to have you guys here. You've been highly recommended, and you got the music to back it up. Good sound.
Yeah.
Well, hope to not disappoint.
You did not. Yeah.
I was listening to the EP on the way home today. It was nice and
There you
like,
Oh, yeah. Perfect for a drive home from work.
yeah. So I don't.
Settling down at the end of the night.
Yeah, it stops the road rage.
There you
It
go.
brings it all down a couple
I
notches.
hope you didn't listen to his lyrics. That might have brought you down a little bit.
Lyrics can be like still uplifting. Like if you got the right music behind it.
Yeah.
You guys seem to have found a good balance.
Yeah, thanks, appreciate that.
Cool. So you guys want to tell everyone a little about how you came to be?
Yeah, I mean, this is where it all started right here.
Yeah.
We had met each other maybe 4 years ago, almost 5.
2017,
Yeah.
right?
Seems like
Yeah.
ages ago. But
Yeah,
then we were.
2017 does seem like a
Yeah.
long time
The,
ago.
the,
It
the,
does.
the,
5
the before
years.
times.
Was that 6 years? Almost 6
The
years
long,
ago.
long ago.
Yeah.
5?
I moved here almost 6 years ago, so yeah.
Yeah. So we had both known that each other had played, and then we were actually at a concert at the Beachland Ballroom watching Noah Gunderson, my wife and I and his wife and him, and I was like, hey, we should start a band. And what did you say?
I think I was like, I probably assumed you were joking. I don't know. Just, Jeremy has a very dry and sarcastic sense of humor, so
I see that.
you never really know if he's being serious or not.
I think
so
it was something like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, sure.
And then I took it to be serious, so I went home and I hadn't been in a band for a long time, and started writing again, which is always exciting. So I have my little notepad, and then I'm just recording a demo on my phone, and I sent it over, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. And then I think you were like, I didn't think you were serious. Let me take a listen. So, and then we went through the painstaking, let's find a drummer and a bass player and all of that stuff, which both of those roles have been churned through once. And now I think we've kind of come to the point where we've got a good foursome.
Yeah. We really started doing the 10x3 thing with Brent Kirby, which was great. I mean, we probably played that how many times?
Yeah, I
5
don't
or
know.
6 times.
A lot.
Just the two of us before even
Yep.
trying to find some other guys. So
Yeah, getting it sort of polished to help sell it to
yeah,
the right people.
yeah, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
that was just putting your stuff out there. I mean, Jeremy's, obviously I feel like it's a little bit more on your shoulders, given you're the songwriter, but at the same time, putting something out there for the first time that no one's ever heard is always a little terrifying and exciting all at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah.
That's the good stuff, though. Terrifying and exciting.
Yeah, that's I think I heard someone say at one point if they're never not nervous again, then it's like not fun anymore.
Yeah, it's
right?
time to move
So
on.
you got to have a little sense of that. So
Yep.
Yeah, no risk.
yeah.
Yeah, just jump, man.
Yeah.
So you had songs ready to go that you just recorded them, sent it to him. Like, what can we do with this?
Yeah, and I mean, Daniel's guitar playing. He mentioned he's from Houston, so he's got that guitar technique that I think stands out. But we've got songs like on the record, "Sweet Wine," which is a really poppy, got a hook to it. We did an interview with Jason Patrick Myers on WJCU, and he like gave me shit for like, how can you write a hook like that? Like, I need to learn how to do that. Like, whatever. And it just came out. But like, that song is as hooky as it is without that guitar part that Daniel put over top of it. Like, wouldn't be the same song. Like, and I think that I was mentioning before. We've got kind of like the 4 people that actually make sense. There's no real ego other than this guy. But it's where I think we're finally kind of at the point where we're complimenting each other instead of, when you start a band or you start doing anything, you're like stepping over each other. right? Like either the bass is too crunchy, or the guitar is overpowering, or the vocals are too loud, or the drums are kicking. But it feels like it's ironed out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Moving into one piece rather than four individual
Yeah.
parts. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I think on our best nights, it feels really good, right? It feels really tight, for sure.
How was the search on finding those final two pieces to complement you, right? You said you went through one of each and you're on the second of each. Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been through. We're on our second bassist and second drummer now. So yeah, I mean, we just kind of did the Craigslist thing the first time, and you know, the guys that we got, I think were great for what we needed at the time, and you know, they're both you know, no longer with the band for a variety of reasons, but you know, I think having that group allowed us to really hone in on exactly kind of what we wanted to do. And when we kind of went through some lineup changes, we had a bit of an identity crisis for a little bit as a band. And Jeremy were like, okay, well, do we just like do the duo thing? Do we, you know, do we try to find another drummer, another bassist? What do we kind of do? And ultimately we kind of figured out like we like playing in a band and being loud and turning it up a little bit. And so that's kind of the route we went. And we kind of had, I guess bass player Jeremy, we found he just was kind of hanging
I
out
met
one day.
him. We were doing a every couple of month thing at Forest City. That's where we kind
The
of
two
got
of
our
you?
little. It was the whole band,
Okay.
but Daniel, being from Houston, wanted to go back and visit family, and then our drummer wasn't around, so it would have just been the bassist and I. But it was a 3-hour set, so I had this idea: let's just do a solo thing and put a mic out and record it. Whoever comes can get a bootleg copy or whatever. And after the show, the guy has got a beard and a hat as well. Comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, if you ever want to, you know, play in a band, you know, I play bass. Let me know." I was like, "Oh, that's cool. We're looking for a bass player." So we kind of hooked up and then just started talking. And then the pandemic happened and social distancing and all that fun stuff. But we found a way to kind of make it happen after that.
Nice.
Did you have you had your intentions set to go more with the group then at that point when you had run into them?
Yeah, I think so. Like Daniel was mentioning, we first started out playing at the 10x3, and it was just us two. Like, I was still trying to figure out like my voice from a songwriter standpoint, since it had been such a long period of time, and then us figuring out how to work together and how to make things gel. But then, like, it's pretty effortless when you've got two people that are in sync, and like I screw something up and he can just like slide right along. But then when you've got 4 people trying to follow, it's a little bit more difficult. But yeah, I think we made that call. Like, we could easily pull off a duo thing and it could be really cool. But that would mean that a lot of the more rock and roll songs like Sober and Underneath and Pawn Shop Drugs and stuff like that would be a lot different.
I think too, like I don't know if it's just because of the the group that we have now, but I feel like we have kind of honed in on more of a rock sound more lately. And I don't know if that's just you, the songs you've written have kind of you know, lended themselves that way, or you know, if it's kind of having the group we have now. But
Yeah, a combination, I think. So
Yeah.
our bass player used to play. He lived in Seattle and used to play in a boatload of bands, and he likes his bass like super crunchy, like old school punk rock. He was playing through a really sweet tube amp, and we're in the process of like the 7-year long recording thing. But his ideal bass tone is like crunch and melt your face off at the same time. But like the whole rock and roll thing, like I feel like the past few years has kind of messed me up a bit, but I definitely feel like the angst kind of rubbing off into the music, whether it's like different social situations or just like life in general kind of smacking you in the face.
Yeah.
yeah, I think the older you get too, the more nostalgic you get for the music that you grew up on.
Yeah.
So
That's
a lot
for
of
sure.
the you know, the punk and the rock we listened to in the, you know, 90s and early 2000s especially. probably influences that a little bit.
Bring your way back home to where you came from.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah, for sure.
What other music you grow up on?
I mean, for me, it was. I'll say no one of my parents weren't super into music. I would say so. A lot of it was just kind of what was like top 40 at the time, and what was, growing up kind of in the 90s, what was popular. It's big into like Green Day and stuff like that. I think everyone would have been into that. So, I always hated country music, ironically, which is kind of how a lot of our stuff sounds kind of now with country rock stuff. But my frame of reference for country music back then was kind of, modern pop country. And that's still something I kind of despise.
that term's been through a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think for now, that kind of country folk rock is certainly right up my alley. So.
And out of that, what steered you towards guitar?
Yeah, I mean, I played guitar since I was a kid.
Okay.
I took piano lessons as a kid, and I was in band in high school, played trumpet, and so
the trumpet players get all the chicks.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what my wife will say.
Yeah.
We met in high school when she was actually in drumline, and I was.
There you go.
So she was kind of the cool one. Honestly.
Wow.
But
what school was that? You said in Houston?
Yeah, at high school. Yeah.
Cool. Just go off track for a second. What led to moving to Cleveland?
Work. Yeah, so my day job, I guess. So my company went through a integration situation, so got the opportunity to come up here and come to Cleveland, and never. I always thought I might leave Texas at some point and do something different, but never really thought it'd be Cleveland. But happy to be here. Been here almost 6 years, and really enjoy the area. So
cool. Do you miss it being summer all the time?
No, I don't.
Cool. That's
I mean,
what I want to hear.
Sweating
I
like
always
every
think
day
about
of your
moving
life.
away where it's somewhere warm all the time. But then,
yeah, I mean,
it's nice for it changing all the time. I mean, it's somewhere in between.
yeah. And Christmas last year, I think it was 84 on Christmas Day.
That's pretty toasty.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean,
We had
that's
84 inches of snow. I think.
yeah, right.
Something like
I mean, that's like the one time a year the weather's usually nice, so to have it like that warm is pretty brutal. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got family in Allen,
Okay,
Texas,
yeah.
and Waco, and in Austin, and
Okay.
they always say it's like 111 degrees right now. I'm like, what? Yeah, it's normal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
It's a dry heat.
it's hard to believe. So yeah.
Cool. How about a little background on what got you into music and music you like?
Yeah.
Inspiration.
Well, my country music intrigue started when my parents got divorced, and my dad would listen to all the famous country staples, Alan Jackson and George Strait and Chris Gaines. No, Garth Brooks. But
That's his real
before
name, right?
yeah. I was wanted to see if you caught that. But growing up, my two brothers and I would go to Tennessee to stay with my grandmother for the summer, right? My dad and mom.
Cool.
were
What part of Tennessee?
It's
Knoxville.
about 10 minutes from the Alabama border. It's right outside of a city called Pulaski. Her town is called Good Springs. But I just remember every Sunday and Wednesday being hauled off to her Southern Baptist church, and she would sing in the choir. And I would sit there and watch all of them, and just the way that these Southern ladies harmonize with each other kind of blew my mind. Mm-hmm. So I would just kind of sing in the corner and whatnot, and never really let that out until my older years. But,
That's
yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Cool. All right. What and then when did songwriting start to come out?
Yeah. So my dad listened to country music. My mom listened to Q104. If we were in the car and like Rod Stewart, Where the Ocean Meets the Sky or something was on, I'd be like, "Hey, Mom, who is this?" And she said, "I don't know." She couldn't read music, but I started listening to, we grew up in a conservative household, and we were, I thought I liked punk rock, but then they had these lists of if you like Marilyn Manson, you'll like Michael W. Smith or something like that. A little outrageous.
Like a
but,
chart
Oh,
there.
Yeah,
The
but
Christian
we had a
distinctions, yeah.
friend of the family who he was older than I was, and we were at his house and just hanging out in his room, and he put on this cassette tape, and I'm like, what in the world is this? Like, it was Green Day Dookie, and I'd never heard anything like it before. And he's like, here, I made you a copy. So I just went home and started listening to it, and I had a friend down the street that we both kind of fell into the same little mold at the same time, and he's like, let's start a band. We should both get guitars. I had no idea there was a thing called a bass guitar. I just thought there were guitars, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, let's go get guitars. And it kind of started from there.
Cool.
Yeah. We hear Green Day a lot.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
A
They're
lot
very
of people.
similar
Yeah.
story to yours.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
From Eastlake.
Eastlake.
Yeah. You're out in the Mentor area?
Well, I grew up in Chardon. So
Chardon,
I went through
okay.
what you're talking about. Same
How old
thing
are you?
with Doogie, 36.
36? Okay. I'm 40.
I feel like a lot of people in 35 to 40 now have a similar story.
Oh, I remember when Dookie hit. I was in like 7th grade, and
Oh,
like
yeah.
it was just like they came to town, and everybody in school the next day had the Dookie concert shit
Yeah.
on. Like
I'm reading
it was something else.
I think I
Dan.
taped the CD from the library. Like I had a boombox with the cassette.
No one's
and the
ever
CD
done that.
player.
That's illegal.
Is that right next to the jackhammer section in the library? We learned that the libraries now run out power tools.
Oh, okay.
Really?
The last episode.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty
That's
cool.
very good to know. Wow.
Yeah, I went there this week actually. They had like puzzles and games you could check out too.
All right.
Like,
Right next to the jackhammers.
I didn't see those actually, but I maybe didn't go to the right section.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So, but the same thing like with the conservative household, and like you'll like Jars of Clay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll like Christian bands, and then breaking out of that was all Green Day was the first thing that started it.
but I remember I was living with my dad, and I got an Offspring CD, Rage Against the Machine CD, Green Day, and I remember like sitting at the kitchen table with a Sharpie marker, sharpieing out the cuss words. Like it was okay that I know they were there, but just so that I know that it's not appropriate, Jeremy, cross it out so
So
that,
like from the lyric book,
Yes.
the CD. And
yeah, it was funny. I don't
Not
know.
just because your dad wouldn't see, but just
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but I was kind of forced to do
Oh,
it.
they
Yeah,
told
yeah.
you to do
Yeah.
Turned it into the Walmart version.
Yeah. But I can still hear it.
Sometimes when you get the CD from the library, it was the edited version.
Yeah.
What?
That's a big pet peeve of mine on like Sirius Radio. They play like on the 90s channel, they'll play some old school hip hop, and they play all the edited versions on the 90s channel. So you got to go to like the old school, what is it? LL Cool J's channel, whatever it is. It has like the uncensored version.
Yeah.
I remember the funniest one was like Eminem's first CD. I think like every song was just like bleeps everywhere, not
yeah.
bleeps, but just cuts out in the music.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like every other word you'd miss.
Yeah.
I actually have a specific memory of like singing it in school with some friends, and then like saying the word that was on the library version, and they were like all making fun of me.
There's one of the, I think it's either Snoop or it's Dre featuring Snoop, but there's like they made a radio edit and they changed sack to nuts. And I'm like, is there really that much difference?
That's kind of
Would
worse
Sack
almost.
be more PG?
Yeah.
It was like, who's got the biggest sack? I'm the one with the biggest sack, and who's that? Or she wants the guy with the biggest nuts, and guess what? I'm like, really? Is there?
Wow.
I kind of put those both on the same level. Like, if I had a balance of vulgarity, I think sack and nuts
I'd say so.
are pretty interchangeable.
Well, we want to hear from you, listener. What do you think is more inappropriate,
Should
sack
he-
or nut?
Or
Vote
nut
now.
sack. We'll add that as the third choice, nut
There you
sack.
go. Yeah, combine it.
Yeah, well, that cancels each other out.
Yeah, yeah. I guess you could just go with nut sack.
I guess we could move on with the interview.
Okay.
Cool. All right, we are here with the Morning Bird. And what do you guys got plans for the immediate future?
Well, We have one show that's a highly anticipated show. December 10th at the Grog Shop with Leah Mara and the Dreamcatchers they've got a holiday EP release that's coming out that night. And then we're playing with the band Sugar Mules that night as well. We shared, not this past year, but the year before, we did the Bright Winter online thing. And they were there, I think, before us or after us, but they're a really cool group. And
What was that, a virtual stage?
it was it was called Bright into the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Twilight Zone spinoff.
I
But
get it.
yeah, it was a fun experience.
Cool. Was that a duo or full band?
We did a full
the
band
full
thing,
band,
so there's some videos out there. I think we did Pawn Shop and
Nice. I think that was my
Love
favorite
More
one. I listened to them all a couple times.
Yeah.
So but
yeah, that's my favorite song I think that I've ever written. But it's a simple
Yeah.
guitar progression, but lyrics that you and your mom can listen to and
Yeah.
cry it out.
Cool. So
Yeah.
you got that's December 10th.
Yeah,
Cool. Sugar
and-
Mules, Liam, and you guys are both supporting for their EP release.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, so
We
it should
talked
be
to
a
Leah
good
Mara here
time.
before,
Yeah.
and she's from Chardon.
Yeah.
I knew her growing up.
Yeah.
She puts on that
Cool.
Love Fest. Have you guys ever played
Yeah,
that Love Fest?
we
in
have not
Chardon?
played there. We were asked to, but schedules didn't align.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah.
And then we've
That's
been
a fun time. I try to get involved with that every year
Yeah.
because it's like 5-minute walk from where I
Mhm.
grew up.
nice.
Right on Chardon Square.
Yep. And then we've been doing, as I mentioned, the 7-year recording during the pandemic. I think a lot of us spent too much money on recording stuff, and we've been DIY for a while.
Oh, cool! You did all those yourself? That are
We did Pawn Shop, and then Knoxville, and then we've got a Christmas one out there called Rust Belt Christmas.
Yeah.
that caught my. I'm in a band called Rust Belt Ragtop.
Okay,
so-
yeah. Yeah, and I didn't think it through because that's the only song of ours that has a cuss word in it. And I sent it to Jason, like, hey, can you play this on Neo Rocks? He's like, do you have a version that's clean? And I'm like, what do you mean clean? Oh, the
We
opening
need a
line
radio
is-
version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we can edit that out and send it to you, Jason, if you're listening. But
Just put the word nuts in there. It'll be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Totally. Really, that's fine.
You say it's in the opening line.
yeah.
What's the opening line?
I genuinely hope you're doing better.
Not
Motherfucker.
blaming.
Not blaming all of the shit on the weather,
Oh,
because it's a Christmas song about
Yeah.
somebody that just down in the dumps and blaming it on the weather. And
Yeah.
I heard a line that was like, "You change your mind like the Ohio weather." Is that in
yeah,
that one?
you change your mind like the weather in Cleveland.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, today you're here, tomorrow you're leaving, something like that.
Cool.
So we're gonna play that song. We do that
we
once
need,
a year.
We need to dust that one
Yeah.
off.
Dust it off and
been a
make
year.
sure that we know. But
Nice,
yeah, we
cool.
played that last December at Mahal's with Madison Pruitt.
Was that a year ago?
Yeah,
Wow.
Cool. Anything else planned for the winter, show wise?
I don't think so.
Cool.
Yeah, I think we're probably trying to focus on finishing recording. We got bass and drums tracked and
Some acoustic.
some acoustic, so just trying to focus on getting some guitars done. So hopefully the next.
So you're working on been working on an album for 7 years, or it's called the 7
No,
Year Recording?
I'm being facetious.
mean,
It's
maybe
mostly
both.
on me, but it's
been
been
like
about a
2
year and a half.
Yeah, probably at least.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's,
2 years.
it's not awful.
There's a
That's
story
not-
I don't want to get into on when we started the whole process.
I was wondering if we were gonna go there or not.
It's
so.
in everything that you do, you learn what to continue to do and what to not do, right? In future endeavors, and definitely when you're in a cabin in the woods and you're trying to record stuff, don't just do a save as in Pro Tools because you're right over the song that you just got done doing, and when you're done with it, you only have one song. So we won't talk about that, but
That's rough.
I just
I
did.
can imagine. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
rough.
Like,
That's rough.
Okay. I'm gonna shut the door.
That
in my
kinda
mind
sets-
right now.
sets
That
you back
sounds
a little
awful.
bit.
I'm gonna drink thinking
Yeah.
about
Yeah. Cheers to that being.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
it. Yeah, lessons learned.
But Pro Tools could be more intuitive. I think we can all agree with that.
it could be.
Today we're sponsored by Logic Pro.
That's different software.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Talking down on Pro Tools.
Yep.
I've never worked with it myself. I've only like watched people like do it. Yeah, you know Jim Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was a wizard at that when he
Yeah.
like, did our albums. I'm like,
It's crazy watching those people that are like
Yeah.
in it.
doing things
Right.
like I never knew you could do to manipulating sound and like
Yeah.
making everything bleed together. Oh, I screwed that up. Can I do it again? No, that's fine.
Yeah.
like, that,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
make that work.
Yeah, that one hit we can just take it out, or I can change it
Yeah.
out. You know,
I've got
or
a
I can add
computer
something
that's
in.
playing it for you.
It
Yeah.
took him literally 15 seconds, like, to fix this
Mm-hmm.
thing. I'm like, no, let me do the whole verse again. No,
Yeah.
we don't need to do
I mean, as a
that.
musician, though, you kind of want to do it again, right? You're
Yeah.
like, no,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't want that to be
Yeah.
the take. Like,
Yeah.
I want to like do the take.
Yeah, that's all. That is, I realize that goes back to ego though, because like, what do you really, like, when you really want to get it right is in the performance. You know, like who watches, unless like you're making a behind the scenes like
Yep.
documentary with it. So like you
Yeah.
know, get the product done, get it out there, and then like you can when you're playing it live and you have it right, like that feels better than
Yeah,
just
that's
like
true.
torturing yourself to like get it perfect.
Yeah, you never be happy with it when you do it on your own, anyways.
That's
It's-
right.
That,
yeah.
That's true.
That's true. That's why I always have to have an engineer or producer because I'll spend so long on the same thing.
Yeah.
You're from Chardon. Did you ever hear of the band Madison East?
Yeah.
I used to sing in that band back in the day.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So a lot of Chardon kids.
Yeah. Let's see, who was in that I remember? His name
Chucko
was Chucko.
Stusek, yeah, him and Terry and Dave Montague and
Yeah. One.
Tom Lasky, Joe Ferbata,
Yeah,
all
okay.
those guys ran in the same.
Yeah, I remember all those guys.
We did a record in that band, and it was like redoing everything, kind of to the point where you're like,
So you guys have
can we
like.
just wrap it up?
You guys have 3 guitars in that
Yeah,
band? That was,
yeah.
that was the first time I
Yeah.
saw that. That was,
Yeah.
And you just saying you didn't play anything.
Yeah, it was weird.
It's
but
like
those
every- yeah.
I remember those shows,
Like the
being-
Christmas
being
show
those
at
shows.
Peabody's or something?
Because
or-
I only saw you once at Peabody's.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Christmas. But I forgot all about that. But
Yeah.
that was pretty important to those formative years of
Yeah, it was
getting
a
inspired
different
to play
world.
and get better.
Yep.
You know, like
Yeah,
it was cool.
that's cool.
Nice, Madison East.
Yeah.
Cool. That was like. Did you scream a little in that one?
A teeny bit. Yeah, Chucko and Terry did all that. Like, I sang really high. Like, if I continued with that band, like I probably wouldn't have a voice now. Like, I hit some high notes today, but then I think I have a decent enough range where half the time I'm resting it with the low notes and whatnot.
I mean, you do have one of the largest ranges I've ever like heard for a singer. I mean, you can go real low and real high.
Cool.
It's pretty.
You got a real nice quality of your voice. I'll
Thank
say,
you.
man. Thank you. And also, you got a real nice quality to your tones, and it's
thanks.
like you leave a lot of space for that to like be filled.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I've learned early on that I'm not a shredder. You know, I never will like be a super fast player and super technical, but what I can bring is hopefully some tone and some ambiance, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully that's kind of the goal.
The sound like resolves itself. You don't cut it
Yeah.
off before it finishes, and you get that full finished tone there.
Yeah.
So before you guys got bass and drums, so say you brought him a song, did you also like come up with a beat and a bass line along with the guitars, like fill all those spaces, and then bring the drummer in and say play something like this, or did you have no ideas for drums and bass yet?
No, I mean we did 3-song in like demo fashion, where I would play acoustic and sing, and then Daniel would lay guitar over it, and then I would come up with a crappy bass line. But I remember distinctly when we were trying out the bass player, I said, "Hey, I know essentially these demos. I did a crappy bass line on them. Like, I won't be offended if you do something else because I know they suck." But then we went to, it was just Daniel and I. We went to the drummer's house, and he had an electronic kit. We're like, "This is weird."
Yeah.
But we were playing, and like we didn't have any idea of what drum sound we wanted, to come out of the thing. But he kind of just sat in and got the pocket and made it sound pretty.
Yeah, I think we probably all have ideas in our head of what we expect something to sound like, and it's at first it's always like, oh, I didn't expect it to sound like that, but actually it sounds really good, right? So like I think, Jeremy is kind of the lead guy of the band. I think does a really good job allowing everyone to kind of find their own voice. And when he has a thought, he's like, hey, have you tried this or you thought about this? And it's never a command. It's always like an idea, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good environment for the band to be in.
That's cool. I think Pete Townsend did that kind of thing with the Who. He would like write these songs and be like, he'd have a drum track and a bass track, like give it to Keith Moon, and Entwistle will be like, here, do your thing, but
Yeah.
this is the basic structure of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought it was weird reading the liner notes and song written by the lead guy, even though he didn't write the guitar part or the bass part or the drums. Like, that just feels icky.
Yeah, the chords and lyrics, like
Yeah.
is the songwriter.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember going through that same war in my head, like with when we were like writing the credits for our bands. So like we just said all songs written and recorded by New Moon Rising
Yeah.
or whatever the band I was in was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then came the lawyers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no one's litigating anything. I was telling somebody at work the other day, like, the thousands of dollars that you put into, like, recording stuff and getting it mastered and put out on CD Baby or whatever to the, like, $28 royalty check that they emailed me at one time. Like, no one's
$28, so that
litigating
ain't
any of
bad.
this. Yeah.
That's like the highest I've heard. We haven't had Taylor Swift in
that
here
was
yet.
after like
yeah.
18 months or something, right?
Okay.
Fine.
But still.
That's over 4 years.
Okay, never mind. 4 years.
I mean, the biggest like monetary thing is like CDs.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Which we sold a bunch of them at the release show, and then a couple of them here and there. But
Which I mean, that's for people to buy a CD, like who's really listening to music on CD anymore, right?
Yeah.
That's really just like a generous act, I think, more than anything
Yeah.
else to
Yeah.
to support
Right.
the band, which is great.
It's like a keepsake
sure.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A souvenir.
everyone needs a coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Pick up some merch, man.
That's the best way to support any of us. Yeah. Buy
Yeah.
merch.
Yeah.
Buy merch. We gotta make merch.
Yeah,
I'll get
buy
on
merch or make large donations to us after the show.
There you go.
Yeah. Cash always works.
Cash is king. Yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest payoffs these days are placements or licensing for TV commercials, movies.
Ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wrote Pawn Shop Drugs hoping that it could get in the Michael Keaton opioid movie, but that never worked out.
What was that movie?
It was it's on Netflix or Hulu or one of those things.
Outdoor movie.
Beetlejuice.
No, not Beetlejuice.
That's definitely a drug movie. It was all a drug.
I'll have to get back to you.
Batman.
We'll have our agent look that one up. but-
Yeah.
No, it was all about the opioid crisis. But anyway,
Cool.
Yeah.
Like
really uplifting stuff. Yeah,
is he like a doctor or is he?
he is a doctor. Yeah, in that movie, I haven't seen it, but
Okay. Cool.
I heard about it.
That sounds really interesting. I'm interested in that.
We should all check it out.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's watch it now.
Yeah. We just need the name of the movie.
IMDb to the rescue.
I was gonna say, internet can solve that in like 2
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. If you're on the internet, make sure you check out Enlightenment Event Lighting for all your stage lighting needs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Brian and Emily Klemonic, they are the owners and designers of the light shows, and they work great events, festivals. They will listen to your music beforehand and get it all synced up. Good stuff. Check out their Instagram. That's Enlightenment Event Lighting and Design.
We need to get some more cards from them.
Well, that's why we get not giving this one out.
Yeah, that's
You might get your hand smacked trying to grab it.
That's right. Why don't you tell us about
Well, let's.
Chuck Kaminsky?
We have this beautiful guitar here, and I'll pass this down because I'm not a guitarist.
I'll give it to Daniel.
Daniel, you want to play
Oh,
some?
boy. Pressure's on there.
Yeah. Just strum a couple chords there. And this is a Nashville Guitar Works guitar, straight from Chuck Kaminsky, the basement trader in Painesville, Ohio.
That's right.
Chuck sells new and used instruments out of his house there. He does setups and repairs. You can find him on Reverb with 2 shops. It's Basement Trader, BASSMENTTRADER. That's a Basement Trader.
And these
Chuck
guitars
Winsky.
that you're hearing right now, this is a very affordable line of guitars. They're basically Fender copies.
Yeah.
And called Nashville Guitar Works. You can get a brand new one for only $250.
Acoustic, electric,
Acoustic,
bass. He's got a little bit of everything
Yeah,
there.
if you need a roughing it guitar,
Yeah.
practice guy, that's
The
one.
camping guitar. That's the way to go.
Yeah, and it's pretty good for the action, durability. It seems like it's not gonna break in two.
Yeah,
So
I mean, to me,
that's
the best,
a good bang for your buck.
Yeah.
best thing about guitars like this, just set them up well, and it'll play great. And
That's
this one's
right.
set up great, and it plays great.
And speaking of setups, if you need one done, that's your man, Chuck Kaminsky at Basement Trader, located in Painesville, Ohio, on Chestnut Street.
Yeah. Look for the big Basement Trader sign out front, but call him in advance. Don't go knocking on the door. The man might be napping. All right.
Cool. Let's also give a shout out to Russell Jones.
Russell Jones,
Russell
actually,
Jones.
he just, I just did, reached out to Russell. So Russell Jones of Jones Drones Cleveland, Jones Drones CLE. He does excellent drone photography and videography. Did the All-Star game for the NBA on, was it TNN? No, TNN's like from the 90s.
TNT.
TNT. A lot of T's.
Would you guys like some more?
Sure.
But I actually got a hold of him because I'm going to be doing some drone work of my own, and I'm like, all right, you teach classes. Do you teach classes on pricing? And he gave me a whole crash course on how to price drone work. Super, super helpful. He's now doing teaching at what university is he at? Tiffin. At Tiffin University. He's posted some videos up of that. He's also selling some of his prints, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah, he's been getting some great shots of Cleveland with like sunrise, sunset, different seasons. So definitely check him out. Buy merch that works for the drone people as well as the musicians.
Oh, that's right. I got to dig out my Jones Drones shirt. Wear it next podcast.
Yeah.
It's a cool design.
Got to support the team, man.
Speaking of sports teams, how about the Cavs right now?
I haven't seen, but I've seen you posting about them.
I did.
I
Post
thought you were
about
just
them,
about to
man.
talk about the Houston Astros that just won the World Series.
Oh,
So-
we don't care about them.
They did, and then Ted Cruz got a white
Yeah, I
claw
saw-
thrown at
yeah,
him.
I saw that.
I'm still a little bitter that year you guys cheated. We were the first ones in your
Oh.
path in the division series.
We
and
don't
got
have time on
swept.
this podcast to go into that topic, so we can maybe record a separate one.
But the Cavs, did you see
The
LeBron's little comment about them?
Yeah, that's what I shared yesterday.
Yeah.
I said, everyone, it's time to ditch your toxic relationship with the Cleveland Browns and focus
That's right.
on some Cleveland sports that'll bring you joy.
Yeah.
I don't. I,
I'm with you on that. Like I used to tailgate every weekend for the Browns, and when they brought
I'm so
Hugh,
sorry.
when they brought Hugh back for a second season, I ripped off the Band-Aid. I was done. I haven't been back since, and now like I can do things on Sunday, not be angry all day, and not be angry on Monday.
Right.
Like I still want them to do well, but the suffering has gone down considerably.
Yeah, and it's like the right before the work week starts, so you go in with this bad attitude sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I can.
All right, that's enough about that.
Right.
Let's give another shout out to Jason Myers and Eric Sima on WJCU 988.9. 88.7 WJCU. Check it's 9 to 11 on Monday nights. Neo Rocks. And Jason Myers is also the executive director of Roots of American Music. So check out rootsofamericanmusic.org to find out all about the nonprofit.
You know who
See if you can make a donation and check out what's coming up next for them.
we don't have a card, but I did want to say Gabe Pollock. He's had some big news as far as career, where he's in charge of what exactly is that? He's working for the art museum,
That's right.
but it's like performing art. He's in charge of performing arts, or It's something music related, but he got.
Was it like music curator or something?
I think
like
that's
that?
what. Yeah, that might be music curator for the Cleveland Art Museum.
He
So
was the long-standing director of the Bop Stop.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did everything for them. And
There
he
you go.
got a great opportunity to take. So
Yeah,
he
so
deserves it.
congrats
After
to him,
80-hour
man.
work weeks, making that place stay great.
Yeah, and having that kind of energy. Like he came on and did the podcast, and he's like, "Yeah, I just worked like 14 hours and then let my dog out on the way here." Due to something else. So it's really good to see him succeeding. And I mean, not that he wasn't a success before at the Bop Stop. That place is fantastic, but like getting recognized by bigger places is very cool for him.
Seems like he's not working 80 hours a week anymore. Like maybe still a lot, but
Yeah, he's down to like 78.
yeah.
And how about Listen CLE down there?
Yeah, give us the digs on Listen CLE.
So Listen CLE has they're a multifaceted thing going on here, where the first thing that we learned about them was their mood-based playlist, and they've got 9 of them. Is it still 9?
It might still be 9. We got to get them back on.
We
here.
do
I'm
have,
sure there's
we
a lot
definitely
more-
do.
There's a lot more going on with them
So-
after almost a year.
Yeah, it's been about a year since they've been on. Actually, speaking of which, today this is our 1-year anniversary of the podcast.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
congrats.
Separate for
Yay.
us.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
But Listen CLE, they do their playlist. It's all Cleveland or local Northeast Ohio artists, and they break it down by mood rather than like genre. So you kind of get the vibe going of what is love, groove, energy boost, chill, night driving, a lot of stuff like that. But then they've also put together now a database for artists, basically an EPK online for venues to go check out. You can put like what your needs are as far as electrical and space and everything on there, so it helps venues find you. And we've had a number of
Venues
artists.
and event planners know about this database, and they pull a lot of the entertainment they need from it.
Yeah, we've had a number of artists on that have actually gotten gigs through it, and that's been up for less than a year now. But they're doing great things.
Free to sign up and put yourself on
Yeah.
this database too. Go to www.listencle.com
Yeah,
and guide yourself through it.
absolutely.
We don't need a www anymore, do we?
I don't think so. It's not the
just a lot of
90s
unnecessary
anymore.
HTTPS
//
Yeah. All still necessary.
Yeah.
I mean,
Make
I'm
sure you put
probably-
that S in there. Stay secure.
Probably just gonna Google it. So
Yeah. Just talk it into my phone.
yeah.
I think they've got a couple of our songs on at least a couple of the playlists. More like the night driving.
Yeah, I can see
Nothing
that.
like driving home to the Morning Bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
After a long, hard day's worth of work.
I'll support that endorsement.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, we made it through those.
We did, yeah.
Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
We're here with the Morning Bird, Daniel and Jeremy. Cool.
Do you want to go gear?
I do. Yeah.
I do too.
Everyone's favorite topic.
Yeah.
Now that everybody's dropped off, we'll talk gear.
We didn't lose you during the commercial.
So
A couple episodes ago, we accidentally started with it, and
Yeah,
well,
we
that's
averaged like 14 seconds.
That's like the whole episode. Then if you
There
start
you
with
go.
it.
Oh, also thanks to everyone that has downloaded our podcast. We hit our 1,000th download this week.
Amazing.
Oh,
In
nice.
1 year, yeah.
1 year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's like 3 per day, almost.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
Look at it
Daniel's
that
got
way.
some nice gear.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, is it ever enough though? Right? It's like it's constant.
Amy,
searching
if you're
out.
listening,
Yeah. Don't. Hopefully, my wife is.
he needs another guitar.
Hey, dude, that's how you know you got to keep her.
Well,
My
yeah.
girlfriend gets me like pedals for
Oh,
Christmas
that's-
and birthdays and
Nice.
stuff, ones that I need.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so I mean, I've got I would say my main guitar and probably my favorite guitar that I play is an SG. So I'm a huge Wilco fan. I've always been a huge Wilco fan. So it's the Jeff Tweedy signature SG. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a blue color and it's got like a white pick guard with the vibrola trim and stuff on it. So yeah, I've loved that guitar for forever since it came out in like 2012. Not only because I'm a huge Wilco fan, but also just because I've always loved SGs, and I think I've never loved the red devil horn like kind of look,
Yeah.
but like the blue to me just like softens it just a little bit.
That Pelham blue, right?
Yeah, so it's super cool. Yes, I've had that one for a while now, and that's probably my favorite. I also have just a parts caster, Telecaster, from a company called Rocket Fire. So this is one guy, he built the body and the neck. I'm sure I think it's just like an all parts neck or something, but he winds his own pickups. The pickups sound really, really good.
That's cool.
So we've got that, and then I also
The guy in Houston.
so he's kind of all over. So I ended up getting that through I've had tons of guitars over the years trying to like figure out exactly what I want, and I've never, of course, I've actually, the guitars I have now I've had for the longest I've ever probably owned guitars. And then my most recent acquisition, I just bought like I've always loved casinos, and I just bought like this import casino, and then I ripped out all the electronics and added like Lawlers, P90s, and then replaced the wiring harness and stuff. So that thing's sweet. I mean,
Used that on any of the recordings?
not yet. So I haven't used it on any of the recordings. Most of the recordings we've done has really been the Tele, actually.
Cool.
I don't think I've used the SG that much, actually.
I think you used the SG when we were doing random feedback and noises.
Yeah, it's got
the
it's got like a lot of just like, I'm not like a huge Les Paul guy, but like the SG just is, I mean, it's similar, but it's got like more bite.
Yep.
To
exactly
it,
what I
and,
was
and
gonna
so
say.
that's kind of what I like about it. It's not quite as like creamy. It's a little
Yeah.
bit more offensive, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that
It's
about
aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just cuts.
it. Yeah.
Does that model have humbuckers in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Burstbuckers.
Cool.
Yeah. So I haven't touched anything on that guitar, other than just getting it set up and changing strings so the pickups are stock, and so it sounds great. But yeah, the casino I'm looking forward to doing some recording with. I mean, it's got, with the hollow body, it just feedbacks like crazy. So it's kind of fun for that kind of stuff. And then my pedal board is, I'd say, relatively simple. I mean, I just got tuner, compression, fuzz, 2 overdrives, just like 2-stage overdrives. And then I've got a chorus, 2 delays, and a reverb.
Sounds simple.
Yeah, I started with that, and then I was like, well, I have more pedals than I probably think I do. But yeah, I actually haven't touched my pedal board setup in quite a while. I'm pretty happy with it. So it does everything I need it to, not a lot else, which is kind of nice. I've found in the past, like, I've had like more just more complicated pedals, and I find myself like spending more time trying to figure them out and tweaking than I do actually like playing and getting like tone out of them. So I kind of simplified my setup in terms of, like my delay. I just got like a slapback delay that really doesn't change at all, and then I've got like a delay I use for kind of longer, more ambient type delays, and I've got like 4 presets on that thing, which is like perfect because I can just kind of set it up how I want and not have to worry about constantly tweaking.
Oh, cool. What's that one called?
It's the Source Audio Nemesis, and then the slapback delay I have is just the Aquaplus.
Nice.
So, yeah. And then I've got, my main amp is just Deluxe Reverb reissue. It's the 68, so it's the Silverface one, which is cool.
Yeah, that second channel is really cool. On
Yeah,
those.
yeah, it sounds awesome. I mean, every time I plug it in, it punches way above its weight, in my opinion. Then I also have like a little reissue Fender Champ, which is fun. It's just the one input, one volume.
That little
that's
6
it.
watt
Yep.
thing. Yeah.
Yep. And you just, I mean, like the SG into that thing just cranked. It's just like sputtery, fuzzy nonsense.
Yeah.
but
But in a
it
good
sounds
way,
cool.
yeah.
It sounds really cool. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I saw you carry that into practice the first time. I'm like, that's not gonna do it.
Yeah,
And he lit it
it's-
up, and I'm like, "Oh, can you turn it down?"
Yeah, so that actually like, and we don't practice that loud, I would say, but
No.
it actually kind of holds up, believe it or not, with the drummer. Like,
Yeah.
it's not clean, and of course
Right.
it's not clean, but like for just practice, it's like, I don't have to lug my deluxe reverb precision that big, but it's certainly heavier.
Yeah.
It's fun for recording because I have a Princeton,
Yeah.
and so we'll set all three of them up, and then be like, "Bling, how's it sound on that one?" Bling, bling,"
Yeah.
and like pick which one sounds best for that sound.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because we go all the way from, clean kind of ambient stuff to real rock and roll fuzzy stuff, right? So, like,
Yeah.
having the ability to do everything in between is certainly nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you got a good wide range of tones and moods and you somehow keep it all in the same theme. Like you can tell that's still the same band. That's still the same guitar player.
Yep.
I have a Gibson J45 acoustic. That's my. It was kind of a symbolic thing. I had always played like middle of the road acoustic guitars, and I'm like, 2016, I'm gonna play music for sure, like serious. So I bought that, and then I have another acoustic that I got during the pandemic when people were selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace like crazy. I bought it's a 59 or a 60 Gibson LGO that I took to Jim Kozel in Bay Village, who did a lot of undersaddle repair and then put a pickup and all that stuff in. So that sounds really cool. It's a nice smaller size guitar to get the the juxtaposition. So when we're recording, I'm doing a cut of the J45 and then the LGO and then splicing stuff and all that fun stuff. And then I have a Nash Telly. It's probably a little too heavy relic, but it
They're
sounds
fun.
great.
Most of their stuff is,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, I got it on reverb, and I like that a lot. But then Daniel was mentioning like, what other guitar do you want to like round it out? Like I could just play the Telly the whole time, because my stuff is really straightforward. But I bought a Les Paul that I got rid of, and now I'm on a Epiphone 339 Pro that I'm monkeying around with just as the side thing. But then my pedal board is way more simplistic. It's just a tuner, exotic EP booster for some like all the time, and then I've got the SL overdrive for some crunchy stuff, and then there's a company out of Columbus, Rare Buzzer Effects. They've got a really cool 1970s like overdrive distortion pedal that I like a lot, so I use that a bunch, and then just a Wampler delay into a Princeton. So
Yeah.
yeah.
6 watts, 15 watts, 22 watts.
Come
Good to
on
go,
now.
man.
Yeah. What else?
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds a good. I've only got a 1530 switch
Yeah.
on that Epiphone.
Yeah, you need a
There you
6. Pull a tube.
Yeah, I'm still experimenting on the Princeton. Like, what number reverb do I want it at? Is 8 too much? Is 10 too much?
I mean,
Not if you're at
Yeah.
11.
yeah. I mean, with real spring reverb, like those amps have actual spring reverb. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't really go
Yeah.
wrong. Granted, I like reverb. So,
Yeah. So, do the sounds come first, or does the song come first? Like, are you inspired to write by the tones that you're getting? You hit a certain pedal combination through a certain amp, and you're like, oh, this is writing itself, or is it molding it the other way around?
I think it starts simply. It starts in the bedroom, like many intimate moments. With just
That's how I got started.
yeah, there you go.
I think mine was a car.
But
63 Rambler.
and maybe like 98% of the song started from just strumming on an acoustic, looking
Just
through a notepad.
Noodling.
Like, oh, that sounds like it would fit, and then sending it to Daniel, and then he'll be like, and I'm like, oh, that sounds great. Let's do more of
Yeah.
that.
One thing that's kind of fun is neither of us are like classically trained by any means, and so like Jeremy will often like come up with a chord progression that's like a little bit different, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is nice. It's not like a 1-4-5 or whatever else, and you know, I think like we even with like rhythms, like there's a song that he wrote that we started playing as a duo. Called Marianne, and there's like this one little section in it that we never realized when we just played it just us that there's a bar of 2/4, and we never like picked that up until we had a drummer, and he was like, yeah, this is like way messed up.
But we made it work. Like
Yeah, and now
after like 17 shows of
yeah,
awkward miss, we're like, God bless it.
yeah, and now it's like kind of like a quirky thing that we didn't mean to write in the
Yeah.
song that's just
But
there.
it sounds
you know?
cool.
So it's kind of like has a weird.
But you got to
effect
like
to it.
purposefully. Okay, 1, 2,
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You know, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our first drummer was more classically
Yeah.
trained, like studied music in college, and so he was like,
that's why he.
"What is wrong?
that's
What
why
is
he
going
left.
on?"
Oh man, if you
Not
studied
really.
music in college, you should be able to do a simple 2/4.
2/4.
David was great.
Yeah,
drummer.
no, he was a very good drummer. He was definitely a good drummer.
It's great when those like, you know, the oddball time signatures like just happen naturally, and then
Yeah.
you realize after you're like, oh yeah, I'm playing something totally different.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know.
Sometimes
it's
it's fun to analyze that. Though. I was in the same situation with a guitarist for a songwriter, and he came up with this thing and didn't know what it, like. I'm like, oh, that's so cool how you change times from this to this to this. He's
Yeah.
like, I did what now?
Yeah. Yeah.
How dare you?
Ended up being one of our best songs, though.
There you go.
Yeah.
Those are fun. It adds something to your, you know, like it stands out because music can become background noise if everything's the same. All of a sudden, you need something to catch somebody's ear and
Yeah.
Yeah.
what just happened there?
Yeah. For sure.
It does wake up the brain a little bit when you hear
really
something
does.
odd.
Yeah. That's what I like listening for. Is like, wait, what was that? You know, I live for those moments.
Like when we both are also in the cover scenes, and like we'll do a lot of fill-in work for bands, and so like when most songs are the same, you know, just like the chord progression, everything's for. So like when you're like studying how to do the song, what you're really looking for is where it goes odd.
The new
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this is what I need to remember.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, right.
everything else. Like,
Rest you're like, yeah, see.
Yeah.
Starting out of there, there's a squirt in there though.
is this the part? Yeah, this is the part.
This
Okay,
the-
cool.
Yeah.
Autopilot.
And now back to watching TV in the background.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever done that.
That's where the money's at, though, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Can be. Well, actually, speaking of which,
Covers
we got
and weddings and.
a message today from a promoter looking for a Red Hot Chili Peppers tribute band.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah,
there
you
you go.
guys
Wow.
mentioned Craigslist. We also met on Craigslist.
Okay.
It was in the men's seeking men's section.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. The musicians section. The musicians
Oh,
section.
you know, yeah.
Yeah, when
Same
we got a
difference.
Chili Peppers band together. And
But yeah, we had a
it's fun.
request for a gig. I was like, "Do you want me to pull a blues?" I go, "We haven't played in a couple months." That's what I told him. I don't know if you get those
It's been a
messages
couple
or not.
years.
Yeah.
I did see it.
Oh,
I did
yeah.
see it. I'm like, well, I mean, if everyone else wants to, I'll
We
do
haven't
Yeah.
practiced since last week.
Yeah.
I guess we can pull it off.
We might be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it. No, our last show was pre-pandemic.
Yeah, for sure. That's probably 2018.
Yeah. I mean, things are coming back now, but it just feels even more of a struggle to keep up on it and kind of insert yourself, you know?
So you mentioned East Lake, right?
East Lake, Ohio, born and raised.
Cool. Are you still East Side?
I'm in North Olmsted now.
North Olmsted
Yeah.
now. Okay. You around the same area?
I've in Lakewood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our
If you would have
drummers
arrived on time, you would have known all this.
Yeah. I had to turn around and get this beautiful Nashville
That's
right.
Guitar Works
That's right.
guitar from Chuck Kaminsky at Basement Trader.
But
Yeah. I gotta ask everyone to just like write something up for me to read because you know.
I tell you what, I
Awkward.
liked saying it over the guitar work there. That was
Yeah.
No,
it
yeah,
was
that
nice. That was very nice.
I
It
would
felt
have
like a
prepared more if I knew.
Oh, no, I
That
think
was exactly
It was
what you need.
beautiful.
Just,
It
you know,
was nice.
something that moves and
tranquil, like yeah, it was serene.
just copy paste that into all the other podcasts.
That one. Yeah, all right, I could do that. I can handle that.
Cool. Well, it's been nice getting to know you guys for sure, and we should get like something together if you ever want to come play on the East Side.
There you go.
Yeah. Totally.
like I said, I'm in a band called Rust Belt Ragtops that like fits the same kind of
Yeah.
mood. In
I
a
think
way.
we follow each other on Instagram.
Oh.
You know, the dark
Oh.
web.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not me. I don't. I haven't gotten onto Instagram enough. Somebody does our Instagram though.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Matter
Cool.
of fact, we need to make sure we take a picture. We always forget to take pictures for the
That's
people we have
right.
on to post on Instagram.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'll do that this
Got to
time.
keep that algorithm going.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. he's,
That L guy, he's a dick.
cool. So, one thing we always ask everybody is other Cleveland bands, Cleveland musicians that you love playing with, that you want to shout out to, that you really love what they're doing.
We've played a couple times with Apostle Jones. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
It's always a fun gig. Played AJ in the Woods a few times. It's always a fun gig. Those guys are great.
We've got some friends that aren't in Cleveland, but a little south, called Easton Union. They're more country, like in your face.
Yeah.
Some real good harmonies,
Kind
excellent
of
guitar work,
honky tonk.
little
Country,
honky tonk,
but,
little
like,
country,
in all the
yeah.
right ways. So
Yeah.
highly recommend them. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Eastern Union.
Easton.
Easton.
Yeah.
Easton.
They're from Akron.
Okay.
So East on Union, like Union Street.
Oh.
Like
Oh,
Easton.
got
Yeah,
it.
East
Oh,
on.
I like
Never
that.
knew that. There you go.
Now we know everything.
Now
I think
we know.
that Liam
yeah.
actually mentioned them too.
Yeah. Yeah, they're super good. I mean, there's when you ask to like narrow it down to a couple of bands, it's like it's really hard to do that.
I never asked you to narrow anything down.
I mean, I can email you the list, but yeah, I mean, it's we've met a bunch of different people. Like when we first started playing, we played the first 2 years like 50 shows,
Wow.
and then the pandemic happened. And it's like 2 shows. And
Yeah.
wait a minute. So in some senses, it's like we're still trying to get back out into the world, you know.
Yeah.
What are your favorite venues to play?
I mean, I love playing the Beachland anytime we're there. The tavern they just redid, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It always sounds really good in there. We've played the ballroom a couple times, and it's always a blast.
That's my favorite place to see people that I admire play. So it's always fun to play on that stage.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I remember I was talking to Jason Myers a while back on a podcast about like venues, and he was telling me about Beachland Tavern, and he pictured it as like your drunk uncle's basement.
Yeah.
And it was so like that until they redid it. Like it sounds so good in there now, but it
Yeah.
like it used to be, you know, they had like water trickling through the top over the bar and just dingy and whatnot. It felt like home. Still
Yeah,
does.
I mean,
I played with Jason on that ballroom stage
Yeah.
before. We were doing this like summer of 1967. It was in 2017, so it was 50-year anniversary of like that music, and like a bunch of
Okay.
bands got together and did songs from that year.
Nice.
It was the day after Chris Cornell died,
Nah.
and so
wow.
like a few of us from bands got together and did "I Am the Highway,"
Nice.
one of the Audio Slave songs.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
There you go.
Jason like sang the second verse, I think, and
Oh.
like the last chorus.
There you go.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think for us it was the first time we played the ballroom stage, especially. It's like that's a couple years before. That's where Jeremy and I like first talked about the band, right when we were in the audience.
What was that artist?
Noah
I'd never heard of
Gunderson.
Noah Gunderson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I think, you know, the venues that like throw us a bone every once in a while, the Beachlands is top of that list.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like they actually like us or, you know,
Yeah, they like it.
I bug
Yeah.
the shit out of them too much, and they're like,
Same
"I
with
guess
us.
we'll
They,
give you
like,
a show." Like,
they needed an opener for some touring
Yeah.
act at
Yeah.
the tavern last month and called us.
Yeah.
Like, so just if you fit like whoever and like their managers, like, can we get local support for this?
Yeah.
You know, It's
Yeah.
always a great.
James
turnout,
is a
too.
good friend there. Cindy, Mark, yeah,
Yeah.
and they're all class acts. Like Mike running sound there. He ran sound there when I was like 2 years old. Fantastic human being.
So the Black Keys came out with a limited edition
We were
vinyl.
talking about
Yeah, we
that.
just talked about the way here.
Yeah.
I just saw that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Their very
Yeah.
first show, October 31st, 2002, at the Beachland Tavern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It is so cool.
Yeah.
They actually, I saw them about a year ago in Franklin, Tennessee, and they were talking about Euclid Tavern, but like one of the guys that was in the front row with us had a Beachland shirt on.
Oh,
So,
nice.
like,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think they then I saw them at Blossom this year.
Okay.
They talked about the Beachland and how Dan's like, I used to work here at these shows. Everyone like high five the workers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did they play with Band of Horses?
Band of
Yeah.
Horses. That was one of the first bands that popped into my head.
Yeah.
What you guys sound like.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
I saw them at the Grog Shop with 10 other people, and it was the best show of my life.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
What year was
fantastic.
that?
It was a long time ago.
Mid 2000s.
Yeah, maybe
right?
If they're
2003.
playing Grog Shop, it must have been a really long time
Yeah.
ago.
I love
But he's
Band of
sitting behind the
Horses.
pedal
Yeah.
steel, like screaming into the mic
Yeah.
with 4 other people, 5 other people.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw him play the funeral on, was it Letterman or something?
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, it's like so quiet and subdued and falling asleep, and all of a sudden just like hits you, and you're like, yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. Actually, those are one of my biggest influences
Nice.
for like guitar,
Mm.
like writing guitar parts.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
Cool.
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. We'll listen to that more.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here
also
like, yeah,
the
that sounds
same
good.
mood. Drive home.
Yeah.
Smoke a joint, take a hike. Like Band of Horses are good for your headphones.
Take a hike.
Sorry,
Take a
Jeremy's
hike.
mom.
It's all right. She condones.
Good. Cool. Well, there is one last question we ask all our guests, and we need answers from both of you. We need a recommendation for what to watch for a movie, a TV show, or a YouTube channel this week.
I
I can take it from here if you don't
So
have
we
it.
were talking about us admiring his Les Paul on the wall, and we were
Yeah.
talking about Rhett Soul, he's an awesome YouTube follower if you're a guitar player.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the name again?
Rhett
Rhett Shull.
Shull,
Rhett
yeah,
Shull.
SHULL, I think.
RHETT.
Yeah.
Yeah. SHULL.
So if you're into gear, if you're into just playing in general, he's a great follow. So check that out.
Did you catch at the end of the video we were talking about where he was trying all those Les Pauls when he had that B-Bender acoustic out? Did you see
Oh,
that?
I didn't see that.
Go to the end of the video.
Fender acoustic. Wow.
Yes, a
Dang.
B-Bender acoustic playing Cashmere, I think he plays. And he
Wow.
does the vocal line using the B-Bender.
Wow. That's
It's
nuts.
something else. It's I showed. We actually talked about it a couple episodes
Yeah.
ago, and I showed Evan during it.
Wow.
But yeah, Rhett
That's
Shull
awesome.
does have some great stuff.
It's great just about the Les Paul video. It's crazy the differences in those guitars.
Yeah.
That are very similar, right? And,
Yeah.
And then you hear them and you're like, wow, those sound totally
That,
different.
okay, so that one might have he did 2 Les Paul videos that I saw. One was at Chicago Music Exchange, where he might have been on his own there with the guy that worked there, and that's the one that has the B-Bender.
Okay,
And then he
so I
went to
didn't see-
Norman's
yeah,
Rare Guitars.
I saw the one at Norman's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I saw.
And he was there with who's the guitar player that he's with? Also
Pierce?
has Tim Pierce.
yeah.
Also has a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Tim Pierce is actually selling a 65 SG on Craigslist out in LA right now. I don't scour Craigslist at all.
Does it feel like you and I are on like a blind date at another table while they're like having dinner talking about this documentary that they saw?
Yeah, no, it's a great channel. And they're like in
We're
the
eavesdropping together.
they're in that Rick Beato world too.
Yeah,
They connected
yeah.
with Rick Beato, and yeah, he had a great video out yesterday too about like the best Van Halen songs of all time, which they could not come up with an answer.
I need to dive more deep into YouTube. I don't spend a lot of time.
I spend too much time.
It's a
YouTube.
cesspool, right?
Yeah.
It's like
There's good stuff in there though.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's a lot of a lot of
When you
stuff.
find something good, send it my way, because like I can't just find it. I feel like it's gonna take me a while to find something good.
Yeah, like those.
That's why we always ask everybody.
So
what should we
the-
watch?
The Rhett Shull is connected with Tim Pierce, who does great material, and Rick Beato, who does great material. So like that kind of like pool of like YouTube creators, they do really good videos. I think you might have seen Rick Beato's has the series of like what makes this song great.
Oh, okay.
And he
I can
breaks
picture the
everything
face.
down.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
those videos.
Yeah.
Also, have you heard of Dead Wax?
No, I haven't.
Have you heard of Scary Pockets?
Yes.
Okay, so it's the same guys that do that.
Okay.
Sorry, I know.
tell me more.
So Dead Wax, it's I can't remember the names. It's a guy who is the CEO of Patreon and founded Patreon.
Okay.
It's that guy with another session guitarist in LA or whatever.
I
You know
know
what I'm talking
exactly
about?
what you're
Okay.
talking about. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
it's all about it, but they're like they dive deep into like music, and they'll bring producers on that
Yeah.
produce like like they had a guy that basically produced like John Mayer's first album.
Yeah.
So they're asking him about the songs and what John was like and stuff, and then they did one where they went to I can't remember the guy's name, but they went to his studio and he had all the original tracks for Born in the USA. And so they were soloing all the tracks, so you'd hear like Bruce, right? And then
Yeah.
you'd hear like all the guitars, and so they were talking through how he mixed everything. It was pretty fascinating. So that's definitely a good one to check out.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd
Dead
love to
Wax.
watch something like that.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, does he do is it Professional Musicians React is like the name of the series? I think he has another
They
series
have something.
that's that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just saw a video of Rick Rubin and Paul McCartney going through the Smash Mouth All Stars.
I saw that. I saw that one. That one's pretty good, man.
That's awesome.
I just
It
saw
was a
that
great
today.
video. If you haven't seen that, go look it up.
It's good. They have another one where they do Cannibal Corpse.
Oh, yeah, I
It's
haven't seen- I
it's the
was looking
same
for
thing.
more
It's the
ones.
same thing. Like they just dubbed that in.
Ruben's so diverse. Like,
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you saw the original thing with him and Paul, like going through Beatles tracks, like the original
didn't
of
see
that.
the
It's
original.
fantastic because they're just going through like track by track and like,
Yeah.
listen to that, you know. And like, Paul's like, oh yeah, we grabbed a tambourine from over here and came in and did whatever.
Yeah,
and,
things that now are so iconic that like back then were just like haphazard, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a one of the keys track that they pulled up on Born in the USA. It was like a clear mess up. Like he just like flubbed a note.
Yeah.
And it was just like you don't hear it until they solo it, and then you can hear it. So stuff like that's pretty remarkable that that's like on the recording. You know.
Yeah, I just saw one of those. One of the triple vocals on Bohemian Rhapsody is like, "So you think you can love me and leave me to die?" And he like misses one of the notes, but like they keep that note in there with the other
Yeah.
other tracks.
We must all be on like the same algorithm type loop because I saw one this week that was song September, and like the third part of the dun, 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 on the bass, like really like he's like he plays it wrong, but everybody that covers it
Yeah.
plays it wrong the same way, you know. So it was a
Yeah.
big
Oh,
debate.
nice.
Like, is it a mistake if everybody copies
Right.
it and it's iconic now? You know.
Did he say he didn't do that on purpose?
They showed it live, and like he played it that way live. So he's like, I'm just gonna go with he did it on purpose, but it makes no sense, you know. Like it might have been an accident, and they were like, that sounds pretty cool.
Well, you're doing it that
We're
way.
gonna
now.
leave it in
Cool.
there. Yeah.
Jeremy, you got a movie recommendation for
We
us?
talked about every video on
The,
YouTube
the,
ever.
the Michael Keaton one.
yeah,
got that one.
It was
Haven't-
called
that
Dope
one's
Sick. I haven't seen it.
Oh, all right.
All right.
But mine is Breaking Bad was the best TV show that I've ever watched in my life. But
Oh,
I
hot
think,
take. Yeah, thank you.
I think Better Call Saul. You were making fun of me, weren't you?
What?
Better
No.
Call Saul has surpassed it.
Oh, yeah, Better Call Saul is good. I think I got like 6 episodes
Yeah.
in. I don't remember why we
You gotta
started
wa-
watching
you gotta
something
push
else.
through. Yeah, I kind of gave up on it, but then someone was like, "You should give it another
I
shot."
mean, Breaking Bad's kind of the same way. You gotta get into
The
it.
character development, and then they hit you with so much crap at the end that you're like, "Oh my god."
I think Breaking Bad, I didn't start watching until like the second season came out. So like this was like early when Netflix, like streaming sites, were doing like full seasons of stuff, and so it was one of the first opportunities. I think maybe one of the reasons it was so popular was because it was one of the first like, here, go watch the whole
just
first
binge the
season
whole thing if
first,
you want.
and then we're doing the second season now. You
Yep.
can watch
Yeah.
them. You know.
I caught Weird. Have you seen
Yeah, I
that?
saw
The
that.
Weird
this
Al
week.
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
that.
That was
Oh.
pretty.
Just
It's,
a couple
good?
days ago.
yeah, it's a good like escape movie because
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
goofy. It's like a goofy like '90s movie type thing.
Right. It's not his what his life
No.
was at all. It's like a fictional version of Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
What is great too is like it like ramps up the satire as it goes on. Because at the
Yeah.
beginning you're like, are they being serious here? And then they'll drop a line. You're like, all right, they're not being
Oh,
serious at all here. You know, his mom's yelling at him, and then she drops a line. You're like, oh, okay, this is full satire going on.
There you go.
You know, and like. That dude from the Jackson 5 is copying my songs.
Yeah, that's the one spoiler I'll give. Like they in the movie, Eat It by Weird Al came out before Beat It by Michael Jackson. They were like,
Yeah.
he's like, I'm
That's
finally
hilarious.
writing original music and somebody rips it up. But he had already done a bunch of parody songs up to this point. Who the heck would just take a fucking song and do all the lyrics different?
What kind of person does
You?
that? Yeah, it's worth watching. It's a goofy. If you want to escape all the craziness going on in the world, go watch Weird for an hour and a half. You know.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. All right, Morning Bird.
All right, thanks
We'll
so
see
much.
you on the
guys.
10th.
Yeah.
At the Grog Shop.
December.
Cool. Looking forward to what you're working on too. So keep us updated
Yeah.
with when.
Chinese democracy.
Yeah.
Solving
this
all
one's
the world's
taking a little
problems.
longer.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Cool.
Been a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Appreciate
No
it.
problem. For Cuyahoga Sound Podcast, I'm Evan Stone.
I'm Chuck Schilling. Peace.
Thanks for 1,000 downloads.
You guys are awesome.